In this video, we are going to see a very important topic, advantages of repertory. This topic is also named as merits of repertory or scopes of repertory. Even though the content is same, examiners, theory examiners will try to twist the questions, try to twist the nomenclature and try to confuse you. Beware that all these things are one and same. Either it will be advantages of repertory, merits of repertory, or scope of repertory. Now, in learning this topic, advantages of repertory, there are mainly two important objectives. One objective is exam oriented, and another objective academic objective. In exam oriented, there is a 10-mark question in the form of long answer question where it is asked explain advantages of repertory. Then each advantage also can be asked as a essay type question as a long answer question. In orals, it is also very important. And if when certain short notes on specific repertories are asked, and if you don't know anything about the advantages or merits or scopes of that specific repertory, you can write some of these advantages. Then this topic is also useful for writing down the answers of such questions like explain relationship of repertory with organon, explain relationship of repertory with homeopathic materia medica, explain relationship between organon, materia medica, and repertory. Academic objective is one should study this topic two times in the course of your syllabus. One in the beginning it will help you to understand the importance of overall repertory, and you will thoroughly study the repertory. And another study should be at the end of whole syllabus, because you know the various pros and cons of various repertories, so you will be in a better situation to understand the advantages of repertory. Again, this will help you to understand relationship of repertory with other subjects. And very important is, after learning or after listening to this video or learning to this topic, you will also know how repertory is important in homeopathic practice. According to me, the maximum failure of homeopathic students not able to practice homeopathy is their failure in application of repertory to the various cases. So, this will help you to learn how much repertory is important in homeopathic practice, and automatically it will reinforce again your interest in the study of repertory, which should be not only for the exam purpose, but it should be thorough, and it is really going to help in your practice. Now, the first advantage of repertory is that repertory helps to find out simillimum. Mind well, the sentence or the advantage is repertory helps to find out simillimum. It is not like that repertory finds out simillimum. Many theory examiners, oral examiners judge you by just this small difference of the sentence, and They will also ask you to explain whether really a repertory finds out simillimum or a repertory helps to find out the simillimum. Mind well, do not confuse this first advantage. Repertory helps to find out simillimum. Now, there are different ways of finding simillimum by different practitioners. Now, we all know that in the initial period of history of repertory, repertory was not available to homeopathic physicians. It has evolved after 100 years of evolution of homeopathy. So, there was definitely a time period in the homeopathy where homeopathic physicians were finding out simillimum without aid of repertory. But now more than 2 centuries have passed and repertory had become an indispensable tool in the practice of homeopathy. Now, depending upon the totality of symptoms of your case, there are different ways of finding out simillimum. I will suggest that every student, UG student or PG student, must read. There are two small booklets by Margaret Tyler, different ways of looking at remedy and how not to do it by Margaret Tyler, and one more book, Principles of Homeopathic Prescribing by K.N. Thakur. In these two books, there are various ways are mentioned to find out simillimum. Now, the main objective or main important point for which way of finding out simillimum we are going to use is largely dependent upon what totality of symptoms we have, and depending upon a well developed totality of symptom, we have ways of finding out simillimum like artistic prescription, scientific prescription. These two ways are mentioned in the preface of Kent Repertory, third edition. Then there is one more way of finding out simillimum is keynote prescription. Now, this keynote prescription is popularized mainly by S.C. Allen, H.N. Guernsey, and according to this system, what you have to find out a central pillar around which the whole idea of a remedy revolves. This word keynote comes from music. It is a note around which all other notes of that music piece is assembled, or in Hindi we can call it as a it is a sargam or laker of a song, and whatever words you use in the song, all those words are following that sargam, all that words are following that piece of keynote. Similarly, this method suggests you have to find out important general symptoms present in a case and utilize it as a keynote. For example, in case of arsenic, burning, restlessness, thirst, these are all important keynotes. If you study the symptomatology of arsenic under various headings, you will find that most of the symptoms revolve around this triad of restlessness, burning, and thirst, and one more is weakness. So, just identify such kind of keynote. Once you find out the keynote, this keynote will help you to find out simillimum. Then there is another way of finding out simillimum is therapeutic way. Now, this therapeutic way of prescribing is mainly popularized by Lilienthal, Dewey, or William Borick. Now, according to this, how to do prescription or how to find out similimum, you first diagnose the case. There are certain remedies which are useful for treating the diseases of individual patient. For example, if there is a enteric fever, bacteria, pyrogen, phosphoric acid, such kind of remedies will be useful. So, in this therapeutic way of prescribing, you just focus on the diagnosis. This diagnosis will suggest you certain remedies, and you will differentiate among those remedy and you will prescribe. So, usually the approach is from diagnosis to patient. So, diagnosis will suggest you 4 or 5 remedies. Keeping those 4 or 5 remedies, you will again go back to case and you will fit your case into the medicine. This is the approach of therapeutic way of finding out the similimum. Then there are other ways like pathological similimum, etiological similimum, constitutional similimum, etc. Now this remaining, and there are so many situations, there are so many symptoms on which we can prescribe when there is a paucity of symptom or when there is a lack of totality of symptom. So among all these ways, repertory is a better and superior way. We will see how it is a better and superior way. All these ways of finding out similimum has their own merit and own demerit and having lot of difficulties. For example, in artistic way of finding out similimum, the most important thing is you have to find out the PQRS symptom. You have to give a judgment towards the symptom, and accordingly you will work out your similimum. And this passing the judgment is not easy for the beginners. So, and for the Kane says that if you practice in this way, you will become a intuitional prescriber, and you will not need any repertory no more. And another way is a scientific prescription where there is a no judgment on the value of symptoms is required. Each and every symptom is equally important. You repertorize it with the help of repertory by total addition method, and whatever group of medicine is there, you differentiate with the help of materia medica. In this scientific prescription, according to Kent, this is a very mechanical, tedious, and laborious way of finding out the similimum, and it must be complemented by artistic prescription. Kent says that this artistic prescription and scientific prescription are both incomplete. So, if you are using artistic prescription, complement it with the scientific prescription. If you are a scientific prescriber, complement it with the artistic prescription. And Kane says that these two methods of prescription or these two methods of finding out similimum must go hand in hand, and it must be perfect in a balance. This is the difficulty of artistic and scientific prescription. Now let us turn to the keynote prescription. Keynote prescription, again stalwarts like Kent, Herring have bitterly criticized this method of finding out similimum, as it mainly abuses the characteristic particular symptom, and it gives less importance to the generals of the case. Now coming to the pathological prescription, We all know that our drug proving is not continued till the development of pathological symptom. It has stopped even before the development of pathologies, and whatever pathological data we have, it is from our clinical experience, and accordingly it has its own limitation. Then etiological, again it has its own limitation, that all the etiologies we are unable to get in a patient. And regarding the constitutional, by this constitutional I mean just by looking at the physical appearance, some physicians tend to prescribe. So this, in this method, again H. A. Robert criticizes by saying that constitution is the last thing to develop in a person. So even before development of constitution, we need to prescribe. And so these methods have their own advantages, disadvantages, and it has lot of difficulties. Now, whatever method of finding out similimum you use, every method will be complemented by a repertory. If you use repertory, it will definitely help to overcome the difficulties aroused during that type of finding out the similimum. And while overcoming the difficulty, repertory will overcome it very accurately and very confidently. Once there is a suggestion by a repertory, it is very difficult to challenge that suggestion, except few cases. And the more and more one uses repertory, it becomes accurate, and he develops the confidence in himself, and he slowly develops, inculcates the habit of using the repertory. And the importance is that whatever method you want to choose for finding out the similimum, repertory will help you. So, for example, repertory will also help you to find out the keynote symptoms. So, what are the other symptoms for burning, restlessness, and thirst and weakness of arsenic? It will also give you the other similar medicine coming. There are so many rubrics indicating the pathologies and their medicine. So, if you want to use pathology, repertory will come to help. Etiology, most of the chapters lists elements from as an important rubric. If you take the help of this rubric, you can prescribe accurately. So whatever method you choose, whatever way of finding out similimum you like, repertory will complement, repertory will help. And the process of repertorization will give you a group of indicated medicine, and this group of indicated medicine will based upon certain valid reasonings. It will based upon certain solid facts, solid symptoms which are there in our materia medica. So once you get a group of indicated medicine, you differentiate it with the help of with the help of materia medica. Not only rely on the repertory, but differentiate it with the help of materia medica, and it will help you to find out the similimum. And there are few lines of caution that never ever expect by the use of repertory a single remedy. It repertory will always give you a group of medicine. You have to carry this group of medicine to materia medica and come to your conclusion. also can happen that you have repertorized the case, and in the differentiation the maximum graded medicine means the medicine which have covered maximum symptoms and having maximum grades may not be the indicated medicine. So this is how repertory helps to find out simillimum in all different situations, in all different ways of finding out simillimum accurately and confidently. Then the next advantage is it works, repertory works as a reference book of homeopathic mathematics. So point onwards here will also help you to understand the relationship of homeopathic mathematics and repertory. So the first point or the advantage of repertory, repertory works as a reference book of homeopathic materia medica. Here we'll understand what is a textbook and what is a reference book. So for that purpose, you remember your textbook of anatomy, textbook of physiology, and your also textbook of materia medica and reference book of materia medica. So when you imagine, when you recall all your textbook and reference book, you will come to know that usually the textbooks are small in size, the reference books are big in size. So the reason is very obvious. The small textbook gives a very concise information, and most of the information is in the form of conclusion, while a reference book says or gives information about vast topic. It gives a vast knowledge and it is a very descriptive. To describe a point, the paragraphs are used, the pages are used, and to clear that point, various references from various journals or various quotations are taken. And the reference books gives us the multiple aspect of a specific point, while textbook gives you the confirmed knowledge or only the knowledge which is practically and clinically verified and repeatedly confirmed. It avoids the less controversial information. In the textbook has a single source, the reference book has a multiple sources, and that's why the reference books are used less by the medical students. So here I am saying that the repertory works as a reference book of homeopathic mathematics. Now there are number of books in mathematics. Smaller textbooks like Alinsky Note, Leaders of Therapeutics by Nash, Boric Mathematica, textbook of homeopathic mathematica by S.K. Dubé, and there are reference books like Kant's lectures on his philosophy, hearing guiding symptoms of or mathematica, 10 volumes, T.F. Allen's Encyclopedia of Mathematica, Drug Pathogenesis by Richard Hughes. All these are reference books. But when I say repertory is a reference book of mathematica, that means it is a bigger reference book than this hearing guiding symptom, T.F. Allen Encyclopedia, or Pharmacodynamics by Richard Hughes. Now, how repertory works even as a reference book other than this standard reference book of homeopathic mathematica, that we will see. Now, the how repertory works as a reference book of homeopathic mathematica. Now, what happens? It helps us first in the remedy recall. Now, what is this remedy recall? What happens? We have long back read certain symptoms in mathematica, and we have forgotten that what is the remedy for this symptom, and just because of the peculiarity we just remember that symptom, or the funny thing about that symptom, we remember the symptom and we forget the remedy. Now sometimes during case taking, some patient says the exact symptom, and then we don't remember what is the remedy. Now, to find out what is the remedy for this peculiar symptom with the help of Mantra Medica is a really Herculean task. You will have to turn out the 1,000 pages of various Mantra Medica, and you will have to come to know what is the remedy for this peculiar symptom. For example, a sensation of hair on the tongue. Very funny symptom we remember, but we forget the remedy. And if we refer repertory in the mouth chapter, and we will find out this symptom, and there is a remedy like nitrum mur. Then there are few more examples I would like to take, is that there is a sensation of cobweb on the face. The patient is continuously cleaning those cobwebs. Again, if you open the repertory, we'll get a remedy like Bovista. Then there are another symptoms like the patient eats his own excreta. If you open the repertory, mind chapter, you will find there are remedies like Veratrum, Album. There are remedies like Cicuta, etc. So this is how repertory helps us in the remedy recall in a very short time, in a very less laborious way, and that too very much accurately. So this is how repertory helps in the remedy recall. Then it widens the range of drugs covering a symptom. It means what? Over a period of time, we have studied Matra Medica, we have by hearted certain symptoms and their remedies. And we repeatedly use only those remedies for that symptom. For example, thirstlessness. We usually tend to know remedies like or Nash triad of thirstlessness, like Apis, Mellifica, Gelsemium, Pulsatilla, and we usually forget the other remedies. Again, triads of restlessness like aconite, arsenic, rustox. We forget. Then, for example, there is one mental symptom, ailments from disappointed love. You only remember two remedies like Ignatia and Nitrum Mur. But there are also other remedies like Hyoscyamus, phosphoric acid, aurum mate, endium crude, lachesis, calicarb, calcarea phos, etc. So, if we use the repertory, it widens the range of drug covering a symptom. That means it will suggest you the remedies which you have not usually thought of. Then it helps us in searching for characteristic symptoms, especially in the acute cases. Now we all know that these acute cases are case history is very short, case taking is very short, everything is fresh in the mind of the patient. So patient quickly recalls his symptoms, and mostly he recalls the characteristic symptoms, and we rarely require a use of repertory for acute cases because the symptoms are very much self evident and we get the characteristic symptom. And if you just use the repertory as a searching for this characteristic symptom in acute cases, it will definitely help you, and it will also help you to minimize your labor, minimize your time in finding out the characteristic symptoms from the ocean of homeopathic mathematics. Sometimes what happen, the prescription in a case is a very clear, and in this prescription we do not require any sort of reference to repertory. And one of the indications of using the repertory is that where prescription is not clear, one should use the repertory, and when there are several peculiarities in a case, one should use repertory. And repertory should not be used where prescription is very much clear. But even though if we use repertory in those cases where prescription is clear, it will help us to suggest few other important remedies, and we will get more accurate suggestions about the prescriptions. Then third advantage of repertory is it helps in the study of materia medica. Now we all know that materia medica is a very big subject. It is a very voluminous subject. The study of materia medica is a very tedious, and it is usually said that the study of study of homeopathic materia medica, it starts with a confusion and it ends in the confusion. And because of this confusion, Kent has said that there is no royal road of studying homeopathic materia medica. And there are different ways of studying homeopathic materia medica, and repertory is one of the way of study of homeopathic materia medica. Now this picture clearly states that the there is a book, and that book is transferred into the mind of that person, and exactly the same mechanism repertory performs. It helps in the study of homeopathic materia medica. It will help you to retain certain aspects of homeopathic materia medica very frequently. And how exactly repertory do this? We'll see. The first is a single drug study. Now, what is this single drug study? That, say for example, you want to study materia medica of a drug like ignatia, and in a repertory there are 37 chapters. For example, in Kent repertory, you search ignatia under each and every rubric of each chapter, and you will get the collection of that medicine present in all the materia medica. Then one more way, and this way of helping, or this way of studying materia medica is very really useful, because it gives the information from all the corners of all the multiple sources of materia medica. Second, it helps in the study of homeopathic materia medica by helping us in the comparative study of drugs. Now, in this comparative study of drug, we have done it many times. What we do, we usually find out what is the similarity and what is the dissimilarity. But in the repertory, what we have to do, one should fix two drugs in your mind, search through all the chapters in which you want to compare and contrast, or in a specific chapter find similarity and dissimilarity. Here, to explain this point, I have taken an example of two very close coming drugs, ignatia and nitramur, and I have done a comparative study in the mind chapter of Kent Repertory. So, when I have studied, I have found that ignatia and nitramur share so many symptoms. I have just taken a list here, like anger irascibility ailments after anger vexation, anger irascibility with anxiety, anger irascibility with fright, anger irascibility with silent grief, bad news ailments from. All these are present in both these drugs. And if we continue with this list, we also get certain common symptoms which are present in this both drugs is love elements from disappointed, love elements from disappointed with silent grief, grief elements from grief silent. So these are all the similarities. How we have found out these similarities is that we have fixed two drugs and we have looked under each and every rubric, and then we have come to the similarity. I have just listed the similarity. Now for this comparative study of drugs or a single study of drug in this modern era of computer, there are certain softwares, repertory softwares. There is a function extract, extract materia medica, especially in a home path, where you have to fix two remedies, select the chapter, and give command of differentiation, comparison, or single remedy rubrics, and within fractions of second, you can study a single drug or you can study the two drugs. But more to get more benefit, if you do it manually, it will really help you to increase your knowledge of materia medica. So far we have seen ignatia and nitramur, the common rubrics, but when we carefully study further, there are certain differences in between ignatia and nitramur. That there is one rubric, grief undemonstrative. Grief undemonstrative means where the patient, the person will never demonstrate his grief, even though he will suffer inside from that grief silently, but he will never demonstrate that grief, which is not in the nitram moor. Then ignatia will have brooding. Brooding means constantly thinking over a particular thought process or over a particular point. But in case of nitram moor, there will be only dwelling on the past disagreeable things. That means nitram moor will not dwells on all the things, but it will nitram moor patient will dwell only on the past disagreeable things. This is not in case of ignatia, where there is a brooding or continuously thinking over a number of objects. Then one more rubric is there in the ignatia is sensitive, oversensitive to moral impressions, anxiety of conscience as if guilty of crime. That means the patient is always thinking that he or she is responsible for certain things, and ignatia is more sensitive to the moral impressions. Ignatia patients will always think of that is right, what is wrong, and they will always follow the various kinds of model impressions. So in this way, by specifying chapter, by specifying two drugs, one can find out the similarity and dissimilarity between the two important drugs. Then, so far we have seen repertory helps in the study of materia medica by single drug study, by comparative study, and then next is by carefully studying the gradations of the drugs. One can also help. One can also gain certain knowledge about the materia medica. Now, how it is to be done? You take one symptom, you know, symptom in the technical language of repertory, it is called as a rubric. So, you take one symptom or one rubric, study and compare the grades which are mentioned in front of that rubric. And now these grades reflect what? These grades reflect the intensity of a symptom which is felt in a prover. More the symptom in higher grades, it means it is more characteristic for that medicine. I have taken example of love ailments from disappointment or love ailments from disappointed. And when you carefully study the drugs, for 3 marks there are certain drugs, for 2 marks there are certain drugs, there are for 1 mark certain drugs. So 3 mark, 2 mark, 1 mark reflects what? The intensity. That means it is more intense symptom in that specific remedy. More intense means it is a more characteristic symptom. Then 2 mark means it is having moderate intensity. It means it is moderately important. And for 1 mark, less intensity, it is a less important. So whenever we'll have to differentiate between these drugs, the choice will be always given to these medicines which are in the 3 marks because they are more clinically verified. So in this love ailments from disappointed, I have also taken this example in the previous slide for the materia medica helps us to widen the range of drugs for a symptom. So at that point I have said the ignitia nitramur, these are most common remedies which are known to most of the students. But if we study repertory, if you look carefully in this rubric, there are more remedies. So your focus should goes on the more remedies, and in addition to that, you have to also study carefully the grades. The higher the grades means it is a higher characteristic. For this 3 mark, it is hyoscyamus, ignatia, nitramur and phosphoric acid. In moderate important drugs like auramate, coffea, calcarea phos, simsisuga, helleborus, lachesis, cephysagria. There are also drugs like antimcrude, osticum calicar, nux moscata, nux vomica, sepia and tarantula. Depending upon this grades, you can also differentiate the drugs. Now, this is how repertory helps in the study of homeopathic materia medica. Now, question comes: there are books of materia medica. Why one should refer to this index of homeopathic materia medica for the study of homeopathic materia medica? There are so many books like Kane's lecture, Margaret Tyler's drug picture, Nash therapeutic, Allen's keynote. Why one should go to the way of studying materia medica with the help of repertory? A good question, and it is usually asked in the exam. What is the difference or what is the advantage of this method over the study of usual method of studying materia medica only with the help of materia medica? So the advantages are, yes, it is not, when we use repertory for the study of materia medica, it is not limited to a single book or a single source. Multiple sources are taken, and it is in a more wider study. Then personal view bias have no place in the repertory. For example, thermal state of lycopodium. Some books of materia medica says that lycopodium is hot remedy. Some books says that it is a chilly remedy. But in the repertory, you will find the lycopodium also under both aggravation hot and aggravation cold also. So the personal view of the authors have not much importance. For example, cough remedies. So every author has their, depending upon their clinical experience, they have their bias, or they have their importance to give on to certain remedy. So Boni Hussein has given more importance to Kalikarb, phosphorus, and Hiparsulf and Spongia while treating the cough. There's some other author like Nash who has given more importance to Drosera and Spongia, and so on. It goes, it differs from author to author, but the repertory will give you the medicines without any bias. Then another advantage is that it is very easy. All the information which is scattered throughout the various books of Materia Medica is given collectively at one place. You don't have to look for this book, another book, or some another book for finding out the specific knowledge about that specific remedy. So it is a less laborious, less tedious, and you get all information at one place. And most important advantage is that it is more complete, because that rubric listing is done from various sources, so it is a more complete. So this is the way how the study of materia medica with the help of repertory is useful as compared to the usual method of studying materia medica with materia medica. And one more point is that repertory works as a refresher course of materia medica. We all know that materia medica is a very volatile subject. You read one drug today, it is likely to forget on the next day. Unless you daily read one drug or twice drug as suggested by Margaret Tyler, you are going to forget the materia medica. But when you use repertory, when you continuously read repertory, when you study repertory along with its medicine, you have continuous references to the materia medica, and it automatically happens when somebody is doing repertorization. I will take an example. Desire for sweet. So desire for sweet, we usually know the remedy like calcarea, carb, and argentum nitric. So first time we are repertorizing, we will remember these two medicine. Second time you are repertorizing this rubric, one more remedy like lycopodium will come into your list, and so on. The more you repertorize a specific rubric for more times, it automatically refresh your materia medica. Then through during the process of repertorization, during the process of study of repertory, certain atypical aspects of remedy also come to know. Now, for example, bryonia. We all know that bryonia is a remedy known for its dryness, known for its excessive thirst, known for its aggravation by motion. But if we open the repertory for the few symptoms like thirstless patient or thirstless is a symptom or better by rest, bryonia is also mentioned there. Then we usually don't know any mental symptom of bryonia, but business talks of is a rubric where bryonia is mentioned as a 3 mark drug. So, by continuously referring to the Matra Medica, we come to know about atypical aspects of a remedy which is not usually or which is overlooked in a routine study of Matra Medica, and we keep in touch in the Materia Medica without any mistakes, and that too as a very much accurately. So, as a summary of this video, what we have learned is that advantages of repertory, it helps to find out simillimum. Then it also helps to study of homeopathic materia medica. It works as a reference book of homeopathic materia medica. Out of this 3 points, the 2 points mainly can be written or can be remembered as a relation of repertory with homeopathic multimedica. And remember the sentence repertory helps in finding out simillimum. It can be also asked as a 10-mark long question. And remember that repertory on its own cannot guide to a remedy, and this is the most common mistake which is done by the users of repertory. So in the next video we will see few more advantages of repertory, like how repertory helps in the case taking, how repertory helps in the study of remedy relationship, and the other important points of advantages of repertory. Repeatedly listen to this video, carefully listen and study this topic. And if you like this video, please share to your groups of students so they can be equally beneficial as that of you.